Hello. Today I'm going to tell you of a story called Judged Upon Death. Viewers and listeners' discretion is advised. Watch out and take care. This story was told to me by my grandfather. There was a tragic incident that occurred in my grandfather's village while he was a teenager back in Laos. The family frantically searched for answers, however. There was no police who investigated deaths during those times. The girl who was murdered, we'll name her Luna. During that time period, Luna was one of the prettiest girls in the village, and was very well liked and popular in the village. She was known for her beauty, and a lot of men from near and far would come to court her. They would often ask for her hand in marriage, which she would respectfully refuse because she wanted to stay and help her family as much as possible before being wed. However, one day after going out to fetch some firewood, she would never return. When Luna failed to come home that night, her parents called for a search, and after a few hours, stumbled upon the axe she was carrying that day, and a pile of wood she had prepared. However, there was no sign of Luna. Then after 3 days of searching, the family gave up and thought maybe she was attacked by a wild animal and dragged further into the jungle. The family had lost all hope, until one villager, who was finishing in the area, decided to climb up on these two big boulders to get near the river bank. As he got to the top, he can smell something foul coming from in between the rocks. He thought to himself, maybe it was a dead carcass of sorts. However, the realization became clear, as it was the smell from the rotting corpse of Luna that had been stuffed between the two large boulders. He then notified the village, and soon there was a group of people amassed at the site. At first the villagers thought maybe she might have tripped and fell in and had gotten stuck. But why would she climb those boulders in the first place? However, it became clear once she was removed. Her pants were missing and her shirt appeared to have rips in them. It had to have been made by another person. The people who found her presumes it must have been someone who had sexually assaulted her and then killed her before hiding her body between those boulders. Her body didn't have any kill marks. However, there were signs of strangulation. The parents then asked the villagers to help carry her lifeless body back to the village for burial rites. They arrived home shortly after nightfall, and laid her body on a makeshift bed. Her parents and the villagers began discussing how they were going to start preparing her funeral. That night, a lot of the dogs in the village barked as if someone was near, trying to taunt them. During the funeral, Luna's parents cried and kept chanting for her to go find her murderer and bring them to justice. About a few days later, there was a relative of Luna's parents named Z, who lived in another village not too far away. Z tried to commit suicide by shooting himself. A few villagers found him calling for help and brought him back to his house. Z stated the guilt of killing Luna was consuming him as he started seeing Luna everywhere he went. He said Luna would haunt him in his dreams, chasing him down. Even when he's not sleeping, she would manifest herself for him and only him to see. They asked him why he was trying to kill himself. Upon his death, he confessed to the killing of Luna. He stated he went to Luna's village for some business, but upon seeing a lonely Luna going to fetch some firewood, decided to follow her. He told them he hid and waited for her to finish cutting up the firewood because she would be exhausted and be unable to fend him off. As soon as she was done and set down her axe, he sprung from his hiding place and attacked her. A struggle then ensued and he was able to overpower her. After he had sexually assaulted her, he feared that he would be ousted by her, so he, in his panic state, took her life. She begged him not to kill her as he wrapped his hands around her throat. But he couldn't take the risk of others knowing, for he was a relative of Luna and this will bring great shame on himself. After he made sure she was dead, he then dragged her lifeless corpse up onto some boulders and stuffed it in between the space. He asked that Luna's parents forgive him, for he had committed a terrible sin. After telling his wife and the people that were present on his deathbed what he had committed, his eyes widened and started pointing at the doorway, saying, "She's there. Luna is there, I can see her. She has come for me." Then he would shift his focus to the ceiling and say, "She's floating above us and she's grinning at me." But no one saw Luna anywhere. Z frantically began holding his throat as if he was being choked. Z began screaming for help, saying, "Luna is strangling me, help get her off of me." The villagers and his wife started to hold him down because he started convulsing. After a few short moments, Z passed away. Word quickly spread to Luna's parents, and they were angry and stricken by the fact that one of their own relatives could be so evil. About a month or two after Luna had passed, Luna's mom had a dream that Luna came back asking for some clothes because when she died she was partially undressed and needed clothing. That following day, Luna's parents consulted a village shaman about the dream they had. It was very common in those days to consult the shamans of the village for both spiritual and physical healing. They also looked into dreams and its meanings. The shaman told her parents that a ritual is required to give Luna her clothes and offerings, and then he will be able to send Luna on her way into the afterlife. After the ritual was performed, Luna's mom had another dream that night. Luna came and told her she was able to receive all the offerings that they had gave her and she was going to be on her way. A few months after Z's death, his widow had a dream that he came to her in rags and chains. He looked like he had been starving for ages. His bones were clearly visible protruding from his body. He told her that because of what he did, he will have to serve out his sentence in the afterlife, and if his wife can send him some food and money. Z's wife suddenly woke up from her dream. As she was waking up, she stated that there was a stench of something rotting coming from outside her bedroom wall, which creeped her out. She spoke with her mother about the incident and she suggested her daughter reach out to a shaman to see what it meant. Upon meeting with the shaman noted that for the atrocities Z has committed he may be locked up in the afterlife. His widow can send him offerings if the proper ritual was performed. After agreeing to the ritual, the shaman told Z's widow during his trance he saw her husband Z being locked up in chains and in a jail-like structure. The moral of the story is to always be a good lad and never commit such atrocities, or else you can end up like Z. Just because they don't catch you when you're alive, doesn't mean you won't be judged upon death. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Like, share, and subscribe for more content like this one.